Welcome to Window on the World. In this edition, we are in conversation with international students from Nigeria. Joining us are Jessie Nzan, Mel Garrick, and Kenny Komalafe. Welcome, students.
Thank you. Nice to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Well, I'd like to go down the line and talk to each of you about what you're studying here at Missouri Southern and where you come from when it comes to where in Nigeria. I don't know if they have cities, states, but you can tell us like maybe your hometown. So Jessie, let's start with you.
Okay, as you mentioned earlier, my name is Jessie Nzan, and I'm from Nigeria. That's the country, Cross River State, and I stayed in Calabar. It's okay, based on how it is here in America, I would call that the city in Nigeria. So yeah, I stayed in Calabar. I grew up there. My whole life has been there.
Small town, big city?
It's small. It's just like Joplin, I would say, actually. It's not a big city. Nothing happens, nothing great. it's not really one of the popular cities in Nigeria.
More of a residential community.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us what you're studying.
I study nursing, and my major is nursing. And I've been here for, I think, 2 months. It's getting to 2 months, yeah, because I came here in January.
Excellent. So,
yeah.
Well, welcome then, since you're relatively new. So, Mel, tell us about you and where you're from.
All right, like you just mentioned, my name is Mel Garrick. I'm from Nigeria. I'm from Edo State, and I hail from Benin City, so that's my hometown. It's a small historical city, and I also have relative connections to Lagos State, so I can usually say both of them, but more from Benin City. I'm currently studying nursing. I'm going to be a junior by August. And I've been here for almost 2 years now, I think, if I'm getting that right. So, yeah.
So, you said your city is a historical city.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little more about what that means?
So, we have a lot of artworks that we did back in the days, a lot of molding, sculptures, claying and stuff. And actually, a lot of our artworks are in museums and stuff, and we're actually petitioning for us to get them back, but I don't know where we're going to get that back. So we're a big historical city. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
All right. So Kenny, tell us about yourself.
Hello. As you mentioned, my name is Kehinde Komalafe. I am from Nigeria.
So on the globe, that's where it is?
Yeah, I'm from Nigeria. I'm actually from Ogun State in Nigeria. Very close to Lagos. Is the closest state to Lagos. I grew up in the capital city of Ogun State, which is Abeokuta. It's a big city as well, but not as big as Lagos, because Lagos is
commercial hub.
Yeah, it's a commercial hub of Nigeria. I think it's the second biggest city in Africa, and I think it's the most popular city in Africa, or the second most popular city.
When you say most popular, so we're talking hundreds of thousands, millions?
Oh, millions.
Millions.
Yeah, I'm thinking millions. So I grew up in Ogun State. I can say I also grew up in Lagos because many times we moved to Lagos. It's very close to Ogun State. So that's it. I'm studying finance right here. That's my major. I've been here for almost 2 years now. So,
okay. So what was it like being in a bigger city, because you say you were in a bigger city, and then coming to Joplin?
Wow. Yeah, I remember when I moved in from Lagos from Ogun State. I can also say Lagos because I shuttled Ogun State and Lagos. So when I moved into Joplin, I was like, this place is too quiet. I don't like the way this place is just so quiet. Many things are not happening. That was my idea. And I was like, I can't just wait to move to a big city. I'm used to the city life and all that. And then I moved to Maryland. That's Baltimore, Maryland, for the summer, just for the summer break.
Right.
And I missed Joplin. Then I really appreciated Joplin. I was like, no, I miss the calmness of Joplin. I miss the warmness of people there, because I think they call it the Midwest hospitality. So people from Joplin and places like that in the Midwest are very nice, and I think I can testify to that. Yeah. So I couldn't wait to get back to Joplin after this summer break, and I'm glad I'm here.
That's awesome. What a great endorsement. We'll take that. Yeah. So you're new here. What has it been like to get to know Joplin and you said your city is very similar. So was it an easier transition, Jessie?
Yeah, I'm not exactly used to loud or busy places. And so being in Joplin is basically just being like back home. And the people are nice. The people have been really nice and friendly to me. So I've had a really good experience. I had a very warm welcome, actually, because someone came to pick me up from the bus station, and when I arrived, and it was really welcoming. Yeah.
So, in your world, is education? I want to talk about education here versus in your country. How is it the same? How is it different? So, talk to me a little bit about your early education, and then does everyone say on a path to college, or are you unique?
Well, from high school, we call it secondary school back in my country. Yeah, we most students from straight from high school go to university. So yeah, it's really common for people to go into university, but there are also a few people that don't dive into that area, but it's usually very common. And high school, I haven't been to high school here in the United States, so I don't really know the comparison, but I think it's going to be different, but not so much.
So say at your high school, are there certain classes you all have to take, and then you all speak English quite well? Is English part of your curriculum at a young age? When do you start learning English? Or do you only speak English in Nigeria?
I think 90% of the population of Nigerians speak English, yeah, and understand English, and it's not it's our first language. So we do it in our curriculum, yes, in every area, every educational level, but our native languages are also taught, like the popular native languages.
And what is that native language?
Like Igbo, Yoruba, Efik. Actually, the Efik language it's not my language, but it's common in where I stay. So yeah, it's taught in schools, but English is also taught, and it's our first language.
Right. Okay. So Mel, tell us about in where you're from. Is it traditional for everyone to go to university, and how common is it for people to travel out of country, like to be an international student, like you came here?
Okay, so firstly, we were colonized by the British, right? So our school curriculum is basically based on that.
Okay.
And African parents, specifically Nigerian parents, because that's where I'm from, they have so much value placed on education. So education, they believe, is the vital source you can give to a child, is the only empowerment. So everything based on life is education. So it's very, very common and expected for you to go to elementary school, middle school, secondary school, that's high school, and college, even masters. So this is what is expected for you to do. Even our parents did the same things. People that don't have the opportunity, that didn't have the opportunity to do so, they made sure their kids were able to do so. So they don't play with school at all. And those who don't have enough like financial resources to go to school, they learn skills like they go to trade school, learn carpentry, sewing, hairdressing, other ways to make their livelihood and stuff. And so I'm not a first gen collaboration. My mom is a lawyer and my dad is a entrepreneur and a businessman. So we have MBAs and different degrees. So it's expected for us to go. And so just like what Jessie said, is common, and we speak French in my school, so we speak English as our first language, but we also taught other languages because we have different tribes. The major tribes of Nigeria are Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba. I'm Bini, I'm Edo. I'm a minority tribe, but I'm also common, like among a lot of people and stuff. So they made us speak French because our bordering like countries like speaks French, and the people who speak their francophones, that they're French-speaking countries, they make them speak or teach them English in their curriculum. So it was vice versa. So I was taught French growing up, but I didn't retain.
I was going to say, do you feel like you have an advantage because of that?
I mean, if I was to pick up French again, I would definitely have muscle memory. Like it would be easier for me to learn than just starting. But I don't really remember a lot about French. But we are taught we're talked to in English like 95% of the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned that if someone didn't have the financial means, is there public education in Nigeria for some, and then are there public institutions at the higher level?
So there's public schools and private school. I went to a private school all my life, and I think most of us think all three of us might have gone to a private school because that's more common, you know, because the public schools are not well funded and they're not well taken care of, so nobody puts your kids in public schools. And the same thing for universities, but I think people also they go for public universities rather than privates, because private universities are so expensive. But like, if you do have the money, you're greatly encouraged to go to private universities. So that's where the different kind of plays a role on.
And what's the university? Were you part of a university in Nigeria that came
No,
here, or you just
no.
came straight to
I
Missouri
just
Southern?
came straight to Missouri Southern.
Excellent. All right. Well, Kenny, let's talk to you about your educational
All right.
path.
All right. Yeah. Prior to studying finance in Missouri Southern, I went to a university in Nigeria and I completed my degree for 4 years in history. And then, in my last year of my education in Nigeria, I started getting exposed to some kind of, because I was reading a lot of business news in the magazines, and I felt like I had that I had an interest in finance and all that, and then I said, all right, I think I'll probably get a degree in finance. And when I was thinking what country, the U.S. Financial markets, or let me say the financial world in the U.S. it's actually the most developed in all over the globe. So I felt like if I can study finance in the U.S., then I think that's a very spectacular thing.
You'd
So
be the pulse on
Oh,
international
yes,
finance.
absolutely.
So what is your area of interest, though? I mean, finance is a very broad category.
right.
So accounting, or do you want to be in kind of stock trade? Or, I mean, is there a certain area, investments? What's your interest?
Yeah, my interest is actually just corporate finance. I'm just interested in solving corporate finance is all about how the corporate, how the finances of a private organization or a company is, how it's managed, how it's run, like how to raise money, how to manage the capital you raised and all that. So it's all about allocating funds into various sectors of the company. So that's what I'm very interested in, because I feel like it gives me an opportunity to do what I love doing, which is solving those challenges that confront businesses, those challenges that business faces.
Is there a certain business you have in mind, like, oh, I'd like to work for them?
Oh yes, I would like to get like an experience with a company that is popular right here in Joplin, Leggett and Platt.
Ah, and they're an international company as well.
Yeah, it's an international company. It's in 17 countries, and so it's in 17 countries all over the world, and they are very good partners with Missouri Southern State University. I realized that the name of the athletic center is named Leggett and Platt. So I'm very sure that that company, like, they're very rooted in the community
Yeah.
when it comes to doing great stuff for the community. I believe it's a very unique company. So that's the reason why I'm really interested in working there.
Excellent. Well, good luck to you. So let's talk to you ladies. You're both into nursing. Can you tell us what kind of medicine or what kind of nursing? Because there's obviously a vast field of nursing as well. Jesse?
Yeah. So nursing, for me, I would like to go into the pediatric part because I'm really great with children.
Yeah.
I love taking care of children, love hanging out with them. Like, they're amazing. So yeah, that's where I'm going to branch off into. But in the long run, I don't know. Probably I could dive right into something else, because I'm hearing about travel nursing and I feel that's gonna catch my eye. So yeah.
They do make a lot of money, travel nurses do. At least
Apparently.
nowadays they do. So Mel, what about you?
So right now, my eyes is kind of set on ICU, critical care,
Wow.
or cardiology, and I actually want to do travel nursing too. So I want to work as a staff nurse for like a year and start doing travel nursing like 2 years after, or a year and a half. And those are the main fields. But like she said, my interest can divert any time because
Yeah.
nursing is a very versatile field.
Yeah.
But I also love kids, but I can't just bear to see them in pain, because that was pediatrics was my first like intention.
And then you realize this could be hard.
This could be hard. Yeah.
I could cry every day.
Me too. That's exactly why.
So ICU can be highly stressful.
Yeah.
But do you like that? Oh, there's people at the brink. I mean, it's not always, preventative care. It could be emergency care.
Yeah, I have I kind of have ADHD, so I'm very hyper sometimes. I'm very energetic, and the emergency department is like is the Spain of it. So you have to be like agile, like vast and everything. You have to critical think at like rancid hours of the night in
Right.
the morning, and I thought it was for me. but I didn't just want to work in that field all my life because I felt I would be burnt out later in my life. So I thought, how can I also be associated with the emergency field, but not like that, burnt out? And critical care, ICU. So when a patient comes in, right, and they treat them and they go in the emergency unit and they're stable, they take them to us. So I still get that flow and vast energy, but no, I won't be so burnt out like if I was
Right.
working in the emergency department.
Yes, because ER is
It's,
crazy
crazy
care.
care.
It's crazy busy sometimes, yes. Well,
Yeah.
this has been exciting to talk about this. We're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the culture and entertainment in Nigeria.
Welcome everyone to Missouri Southern State University, home of the Lions. Missouri Southern is a public university offering more than 100 undergraduate and graduate degree programs, specializing in immersive learning, a unique focus on international education, and small class sizes that allow you to develop meaningful connections. MSSU is located in Joplin, Missouri, the commercial hub of the 4 states area, where Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas meet. I'm your host, Alex Boylan, and over the next half hour, we'll explore the campus of Missouri Southern, hearing from students about how their experiences here are helping them develop the knowledge and leadership skills to go forth and roar as they enter the job market. Each of these students has a story to tell and are excited to share how becoming a member of the Lion community is shaping their future. At MSSU, Lions Together isn't just a catchy hashtag, it's a way of life. Welcome everyone to Missouri Southern State University. This is the College Tour. For more than 25 years, Missouri Southern has been committed to its global mission, providing students with a wealth of opportunities to expand their global and cultural horizons. From annual themed semester activities to study abroad opportunities, you can experience the history, art, music, cinema, and cuisine from well beyond the U.S. border. You'll find many international students furthering their education at MSSU. Students like Yana, a senior marketing and PR major from Finland. Yana, you are up.
Kiitos, Alex. Hi, I'm Janna Hautala. I'm an international student from Lahti, Finland, from the land of Thousand Lakes. I came to Missouri Southern in 2018 on a track scholarship. When I first arrived in Joplin, I didn't really know anyone or much about the university, the city, or the region. But what I found was a school truly committed to the international experience, not only for students coming here from overseas, but for everyone on campus. While I'm far away from my family, MSSU makes me feel like I'm right at home. This is a very close-knit campus where the faculty members know you by your name, which makes the university experience even more memorable. Volunteers from the campus and community partner with the international students by taking us to local and regional trips such as hiking, camping, ice skating, or trips to museums. Every fall, Missouri Southern celebrates a different country by theme activities, including art, food, music, films, and lectures. Fall 2021 was the Japan semester. While I've been here, we also celebrated the Caribbean, the Oceania, and my favorite, the Nordic semester. Another major international themed event is the World Music and Cuisine Festival held each spring. This community event offers a great variety of international music and the chance to sample food from around the world. No matter what part of the world you're from, Missouri Southern is home away from home, where you will make friendships that will last for a lifetime. Alex, with your travel experience, which country do you think MSSU should celebrate next fall semester?
Welcome back to Window on the World. I'm Lisa Aligus, your host, and we are in conversation with students from Nigeria. Welcome back, all. We're here now to talk a little bit about culture and life and maybe some of the differences between our country, your country. And we can even start with fashion because we noticed what Jessie was wearing. Is that a traditional print from Nigeria?
This is a traditional print. It's not pertaining to like a particular culture because this is just random fabric, but we do have like traditional attires because like where my mom is from, Benue, they have this black and white material that they always wear. So yeah, there are different cultures that have different fabrics that they wear
And different designs.
Yeah, and it's just like this.
But is being very colorful very typical? Or you mentioned your mom's is black and white. Does color make a big difference in designation?
Yes, it does. Because there are some places that are red and black. There are some places that could be like a print like this, different colors and all of that. So, like the Igbo, I'm not really sure. Do you know what the Igbo wear? Because I'm not really sure how their traditional wear.
But is it
looks like,
tribe
but-
related then?
Yeah.
Specifically? Okay. So talk to me about, what you wear. You said you have to check the weather every day. So is the weather a dramatic difference here, and does it impact what you wear here in the U.S.?
Yes, the weather really impacts what I wear because back home I never had to look at the weather app. It wasn't really a concern of mine. But here, the cold really hits me hard because I'm not used to it back home. The weather at home is usually warm and you could say hot. In Celsius, it's like, you could say 25 degrees, 26, yeah. But here, it was different. I was hitting -2, and I was like, okay, we gotta wear a lot of layers of clothes, yeah. So every day I have to wear something underneath all of my clothes, at least 3 layers, just to stay warm.
No, you say it doesn't bother you so much.
Now I'm a bit of a daredevil, so I would I should check my abs. I should do what she's doing, but I wouldn't because I really don't have the time for that. But whenever I step outside, there's a noticeable difference, especially because of we do have a colder season back home, but it's something called Hamatan, right? And your lips get chapped up, your skin gets dried up if you don't put enough lotion or moisturize enough before you leave in the morning. So we have rainy season, Hamatan, and summer. Like that's the most abundant. So it's usually always sunny, right? And so I'm used to sunny shirts and go outside, not caring about checking my weather app, like she said. But here I would come out and I'm like, I'm wearing a shirt and I'm like, oh, I wish I wore my coat today. I should have worn my coat today. And especially because of the scale used in measuring temperature. So back home we use something called Celsius, but here they use Fahrenheit, and there's a drastic difference because the freezing point of Celsius is 0 degrees and the boiling point is 100, and it's very easy to understand. But here there is
32.
32. What is that supposed to tell me? I'm calling my friend. I'm like, do you think should I wear a coat? Yes or no? And they're like, girl, you need a coat, you need a bag, you need whatever.
Gloves, put a hat on.
Everything. And I'm like, oh my God, no.
So there's a little bit of an adjustment there.
Yeah.
So you said you have some seasons there, but is our weather maybe more erratic, and is that difficult for you? Comes one day it's really warm and the next day it might get cold.
So for Joplin, I consider Joplin's weather to be bipolar. So so one day it's happy and one day it's not. He just can't make his mind up. Okay, that's so it can be raining, snowing the next day, sunny the other day, and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on, and it's such a pain sometimes. Especially because I'm used to such sunny weather, and I kind of miss the weather back home. And sometimes it's hard on me to go outside. It demotivates me. It's so cold. I don't want to go for class when it's so cold, Right. So it's different, and I think you have to be able to tolerate it because it's quite a huge adjustment you have to make. So you have to tolerate it,
Yeah.
and I think the longer you stay here, you get used to it more. But it's still hard. Yeah.
So Kenny, tell us, you're wearing a jersey. Tell us what the jersey is.
Yeah, this is the Nigerian jersey. Right here it says Nigeria Football Federation. By the way, what they call soccer is usually called football.
Right.
So what is called football? Yeah, we mean soccer because we have the American football, which is a total different game. I'm yet
right.
to understand it, but I know it's very fun because many people are always talking about it.
But you play soccer.
Yeah, I play soccer. So this is the soccer jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on campus, do you get to play? And I've heard you kind of try to organize some games. Is that right?
Oh yes, on campus there's no. I wish there was like a male soccer team. Right now we have just a female soccer team. Well, I'm not that good by the way, but if there was a male soccer team, I'd love to join. But we play a lot of soccer with many other international students. We organize some games, and we are looking forward to an intramural competition or something. So that's it. And I think there's a Joplin soccer team. I looked it up online, and I'm looking forward to joining the. It's an informal team, by the way. So they just organize games like once or twice a week. So I'm looking forward to join that.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
What position do you play?
I usually play defense
Defense.
because
okay.
that's why I just get to rest. I don't have to run everywhere.
I think almost everybody runs in soccer a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Football.
Yeah, but defense, just stay at home and just make sure the keeper is safe and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I
And
like that too.
soccer football season here, it can be kind of cold.
Oh yeah, it's very cold right here. You can't even play soccer when it's cold.
It
because
stings when the ball hits your legs a little bit.
Yes, yes.
A little bit sting. So let's talk a little bit about what you guys do for fun and what you might do here socially, but how it would be back in Nigeria. I mean, are movies a big thing? Are bowling alleys? I mean, what is some of the culture you have in your country that would be fun if you had somebody come visit?
Well, I didn't grow up in one of the entertainment states or cities, yes, so I wouldn't really know much. But what we do have movie theaters. Yeah, sometimes you go watch movies, and sometimes there are concerts actually that are hosted in my city. Different musicians, probably upcoming or already popular, you come and have concerts. So there's that, and that's
Are
pretty much it.
artists who are typically internationally popular also popular there? And would you be able to see, I mean, are we talking like the Justin Timberlake, the Adeles? I mean,
No.
they don't necessarily come.
No, I haven't. Well, I think Cardi B came one time.
They
Cardi
do
B?
come.
Yeah, they do,
Yeah, they
come,
do
but
come.
not to my city. I think it's where Kenny's from, like Lagos, Ogun State, Lagos.
But
yeah.
you could travel there to go
Yeah,
see a
yeah.
concert.
Of course.
So, is family together time important?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, like for me, at least based on how I grew up, family bonding, especially between my siblings, it was very important to my mom and my dad. So they would make us do a lot of activities together to just get rid of the sibling hates because there's jealousy.
Sure.
And
So, what are some of those activities you would do
so
together?
they would make us go to the cinema together, like she said. They would make us go for parties together, like birthday parties, like class parties, water parks, like playground amusement areas, and even like organizing like sort of like it's not like board games, but like made up games like musical chairs, tag your it, just something that like facilitates bonding between yourself and also people. So you're like socially oriented with yourself and your friends in school, your friends that you make, and especially your neighbors. So we play a lot with our neighbors, whether
Okay.
you live in the same apartment complex or they live beside you. So we would always, our like free or treat was going to their house or sneaking to their house to go play on the console, like the PS4, the PS5, the Nintendo.
So, video games are everywhere.
Yes, everywhere. It's universal,
So,
basically.
you mentioned apartments. Do
Yeah.
you live in houses or apartments, or is one more
So,
common than the other?
So like there's different housing styles. There's duplexes, like they have a story stairs. You have your bungalow that you don't have stairs in it. You have apartments. Those are the basic three common houses type. So personally, I lived in a duplex all my life. I didn't have neighbors in my compound because back home all our houses are gated. So like how you guys' house are not gated, you can't do that. They will rob you. So we have gated houses and electric fences.
Oh, wow.
So wired fences.
So security
So
is-
security, and we have guard dogs.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
So so my neighbors were beside me, not in the same compound. So basically, typically that's how it goes. Or you could live in an apartment style where you could live like upstairs. You can have like you can rent upstairs and your neighbors can be downstairs, or you can have a bungalow. It's the same thing as the duplex, but there's no like an upper floor and on it. So yeah,
It's a different
it's
perspective
different.
on
Yeah,
knowing
very
that.
different.
Yeah. So Kenny, talk to us about what your family did for fun, or, you know, I mean, obviously you're an athlete, so you played soccer for one, but what else?
Oh wow, what my family did. Yeah, my family was usually, I think, growing up, I was usually, we were usually just at home most times because we don't really go out. Like it was like this. There's a way they call it, get inside children.
I know it.
Yeah, that's what they call it. So that was growing up. By the way, when I became like a teenager around I was 17, then I started going out on my own. I wanted to explore. I was the last child, so you know what they say about last kids. So I wanted to like explore.
How
so-
many kids in your family?
Oh, we three.
Three.
I have two siblings. I'm a twin, by the way. I have
Are
a twin
you?
sister. Yes.
And so is she not studying here?
Oh, she's not studying yet, but hopefully, you know, education is a big deal in my family. So hopefully, she'll be coming to the US to get a master's degree.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. So what would you say if we asked you if people could come visit Nigeria? What would you show them as our final question? What do you think?
At least from where I'm from, like people usually come like to Benin City to visit their loved ones. That's a major like. It's not a entertainment place. Like I said, it's very historical because we have kings. We have a monarch there that's very, very popular. It's called the Oba of Benin, and it's very important. So it's like a traditional city. So they come here, they visit the Oba's palace. That's where he stays. They talk to people, and they eat. So we're very known for food. Food is a big factor.
Favorite food?
Yes, like I keep craving Nigerian food because nothing can just beat the taste. So people come for the flavors. We cook for them. We host them. So we have we host people, and we are very good with hospitality. So they stay in our houses. We cook for them. We take them around places. We take them to the mall so they can shop, and they can go out. They can watch movies with us. They can do basically anything they think of. But we don't have like those very big go-getter like entertainment places.
Sure.
So basically, everything revolves around family time. That's what where I'm
So
from.
Nigerian food, how is it different than American food? What do you like? What do you dislike? What have you discovered here in
It's
in
a
China?
lot different. A lot. Like,
Is there a
okay.
primary meat?
Sorry?
Primary meat that is eaten?
Yeah, we eat meat with basically everything, basically. Here, what shocked me was that rice is not eaten with something else, like, because back home, we eat rice with stew or something. But here, it's just rice. And it's kind of,
White rice.
it's just
White
white rice. And I'm like, okay, that's a shocker, but we would live with that. So there's rice. We have jollof rice. I don't know if I should go down the whole preparation, how it's prepared.
Well, I mean, are there certain ingredients you use that you can't find here? Like, as a student living here, has it been hard to cook
Yeah, definitely.
native foods?
Yeah.
We have the World Music and Cuisine Festival here. We organize it every spring semester. So basically, every international student volunteers to cook from their home country's meal and everything, and people coming from the Joplin community to sample the food. So I cooked for that, for Nigeria, and it was so expensive. I did that from the kindness of my heart so people could taste my culture and experience something different. It's so hard to get food stock. I had to order from they had to ship it internationally, the products I used to cook the food.
Give us an example of a product. Is there certain spices that you
Yes,
use?
so like banga spices, they're hard to get.
Oh,
What's this called?
you went all out.
Yeah, what's it called? Native Maggi is hard to get.
Mangoes.
The stockfish is hard to get. Catfish, there are so many things that is hard to get.
Catfish, you could just go
I
to
know, but
Spring River.
it's still it's.
She won the night.
I want the Nigerian authentic. Like, you can't beat the taste of Nigerian
Banga.
authentic food. Like it is uncomparable. I crave the taste every day. It's so hard, like to forget, and that's why I like a lot of people coming up to me like, hey, I'm interested in trying your food, and I'm like, yes, I will cook for you.
I'm
So she
interested.
mentioned you usually have rice, but it's not always white rice. Are there other bases to your food that you would use and eat?
Yeah. So like she's saying, what she means is like, we go to the cafe, for instance, and like they're serving food and there's just white rice. maybe tacos. It's not like that back home. There must always be something that goes with the rice. Like stew is like a tomato based a sauce. So you eat the rice with the stew. There can also be like sauce, like a curry sauce you can eat with the rice. So there's something to go with the rice, not just rice as a side, like a vegetable like a side. So it's kind of very weird. And like,
But is rice the only thing, or do you do noodles? Are there other things like that, or is bread?
so
big
rice
in
is our
Nigeria?
staple back
Is it
home,
staple?
just the way pasta is you guys is staple here in America. So rice is everything to us, just like
Well,
the
rice is a
Koreans.
staple in Chinese food, but I think a lot of Americans are also big into pasta, which is
Yeah.
Italian food. But are there other staples and like bread? Is that a big deal?
Yeah, there's
in the
bread.
morning,
In the morning?
breakfast.
Yeah, we use it as breakfast. There's bread. There is pasta too. Actually, most people eat macaroni, eat spaghetti. Yeah, so all of that is there actually.
So what have you discovered about American food that you might like, or something like, oh, I wish we had this at home? Is there anything? Is fast food a thing in Nigeria? I mean, some of those companies are international, but is there something here that you don't have there that you like?
Well, considering fast foods, yeah, the fast food here is, first of all, let's talk about the portion size. It's a lot. Back home, no, you can't have that much as fast food, but it's really it's nice. The size is nice, and you can eat at fast food and be filled up. But at home, you get fast food, but you have to go back home and cook something.
Yeah.
Yeah, fast food is like a treat you get. It's not an everyday thing. Here, most fast food restaurants are really packed up and all, but no, it's not an everyday thing in Nigeria. We do it once in a while when you probably just want to feel good, or your parents want to please you. Yeah. When you've been on your best behavior, yeah.
It's
then
a
you can-
reward.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's not
yeah.
like breakfast. I think one thing I noticed here is that people, go to restaurants or they go to get fast food like breakfast. I'm hungry. Let's just drive down and
Yeah.
get lunch. Back home, it's more of people cook at home, so people eat at home. Back home, it's more of today's a special day. Okay, let's reward.
Right.
Today's
So
your
when you
birthday,
say you cook at
something.
home, so what would be a typical breakfast? Give me an
Oh,
idea.
a
It's like
typical
eggs or no
breakfast.
eggs?
Yeah, eggs.
Eggs.
Maybe for my place, because I can see we're from like 3 different
Yeah.
Yeah.
parts of Nigeria, because Nigeria is very diverse in
Right.
culture, in food, and many things. But if I am right, I think back home breakfast is usually bread and egg, yam and egg or something. Am I right?
Yeah, I do. Or cereal.
So
Maybe in my
cereal?
part.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's it. And by the way, we're talking about rice. I think I would make a recommendation for you.
Yes.
You should try jollof rice.
You said Jello fries?
Jollof
Jollof
rice.
Jollof
rice.
rice.
Yes.
You would like it.
You love it.
Jello
You
fries.
will love
Yes.
it. Yes.
It's our staple.
Really?
Yes,
Yeah.
we're
It's a
known for
very-
jollof rice.
You should try it.
You have to
please.
send us a picture so we can show that, and what it is looks like.
Okay.
And what does it taste like? I mean, describe it.
Delicious.
Oh, delicious.
You have to
Delicious.
taste it for
You
yourself.
have to
So
taste
what
it
is
for
it made
yourself.
of?
It's
Rice,
tomato based.
tomato
Yeah.
paste.
Okay.
with
Or-
spices.
Yeah, onions. But
Onions?
I think we want you to be curious about it.
Yeah,
so
we want
wouldn't
you
go
to
much
have.
in
Yeah,
details.
we don't want to give you a lot.
Yeah,
So
but it's
it
delicious.
is it usually spicy? You know how we have, I mean, there's different levels of spice, like hot spicy, or is it just flavorful spice?
It's not so spicy that it kills the beautiful taste.
Yeah.
So we eat spicy food where I'm from, but I think jollof rice it's
It
cooked the
depends on
same
who-
way
It depends on who
everywhere.
makes it, though.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
not so
It's not
spicy
always so
like very
spicy.
spicy. It's something you would enjoy. I'm 100% certain
Exactly.
about that.
So you mentioned many cultures.
Yeah.
How does that affect life in Nigeria? You guys mentioned you don't really like to talk politics. Why is that? Why is that?
Yeah, Nigeria is very heterogeneous. There are so many cultures, so many languages. Like I think there are more than 500 languages.
500 languages.
Yeah, I mean there are three popular language, and there are still the 3 popular languages are Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, and there are still many languages and different tribes, different beliefs, and politics. Politics for me is, I really don't want to. The reason why I don't like to talk about politics in Nigeria is because it's just so many people with different mindset, different beliefs, and it's rooted in culture and all that. So I don't want anything that would just, like any form of like
Upset anyone.
misinterpretation or miscommunication and anything that can just you get. But at the same time, I believe I believe things will get better politically. I believe there's hope. Of course, there's hope because we
Yeah.
are the hope, right?
Yes,
Right.
we
Yeah,
are.
we are the
So-
leaders of tomorrow.
Mel, tell me a little about the structure of the country. Is it similar to the U.S. in how there's representatives? Tell us how it works
Yeah,
in general.
so we also run a system of democracy, like here in the United States. We have House of Reps, we have the Senate houses, we have chairman, and we have local government areas, just like similar, like the
Yeah.
base states, like commissioners and stuff. We also have commissioners of education, commissioners of petroleum. So it's basically set up like the U.S. system, hand in hand.
With our cabinets.
Yeah,
and-
but it
Yeah.
is not practiced. It is not fully practiced. It is democracy is not democracy they're practicing is not democracy that's defined in the constitution. They have a constitution and they're not following everything in the constitution. There's a lot of verbal rules, verbal unspoken rules that were not written down but are being followed. They are not supposed to be followed. So it's this kind of like silent rules that are speaking in the country. It's not an authoritarian government, but it's seeming like it's heading towards that direction, right?
Right.
And one huge difference I think I would spite out of American culture and Nigerian culture is the respect culture. We are so big on respecting your elders back home and giving them that like pat on the shoulder and be like, I respect you. You are here before me. You know life in and out.
Yeah.
I'm going to honor you. Because I think one of the major culture shocks I had when I came to the United States was calling my teachers and professors by their name. And I go
Yeah.
to my class and like these people are calling their professors by name. I'm like,
Like,
wait a minute, you're doing this? And it was so weird. Like the first few moments, my professors were like, no, please, don't call me
don't
that.
put madam.
Don't put madam
Don't
or
put
sorry my
Mrs.
name.
or sir,
Or
ma.
sorry, yeah.
So
yeah.
madam and sir are
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
important.
Very
I have people
important.
telling me, don't put sir,
Don't
don't
put-
call me
yeah.
sir, don't call me ma, please don't. And I'm like, I'm used to
I'm
it.
used to this. I can't.
And now I
Brothers
just-
can't stop it.
No, I
And
just
you
have
see
to
it,
stop
it is a show of respect. At the same time, we had other students once say they liked that they could actually address their professors because in some countries, in their education system, you're not really supposed to talk to them. So does that help in your education here to be able to communicate one-on-one?
I think it's honestly
It's-
better.
Yes,
That
it
we
is.
can address them by their names because that the respect they obviously they deserve respect, but it's putting this kind of fear and intimidation in students. Like I don't think how like I'll be able to be free with my professors here like I am here in the United States back home. I can't just walk into your office and tell them I'm going through this or I have a problem with this. But I can do that here. I would be afraid to do that back home, you know?
Okay.
So there's these differences and it facilitates learning better that there's this informal. Like but back home is so formal. But at the same time, there's a thin line between crossing the boundaries. So I think the respect that they should be giving, sometimes they're not giving that because there's this informality.
Right.
So there's pros and cons to it. So the pros are like I can call to your office, talk to them and stuff. But the con is that some people don't know when they're crossing the line and they should be respectful, you know. So that's what I think.
That's a really good assessment of it because we want students to ask questions, but then you also want to respect those
Yeah.
teachers and the guidance they give. So let's talk about your futures. So you want to be nurses. How much time do you have left and where do you hope to work? I mean, are you going to go back home and then would you like to work in other countries? You said you might want to be a travel nurse. Were you talking traveling internationally? How would you like to go?
Okay, so I just started nursing. I haven't been in for a very long time. I still have, I think, at least 3 years ahead of me. So there'll probably be a lot I'll still have to figure out. Yeah, I'm not really certain on where I would go and where I wouldn't go. But if I get to be an international travel nurse, that would be really great because seeing different cultures is very amazing. And yeah, as you said, the pay is good, so that would be nice. And also to go back to my country would be a good thing because having to gain all of this knowledge from an outside country and then taking it back to my country, try to like help and improve the healthcare system or something in some way or the best way I can. That would be also that's is.
Are there a lot of hospitals in Nigeria, a lot of medical facilities? How does that compare to what we have here?
Well, the healthcare system in Nigeria is not exactly the best. It's not the best, but they are trying based on what they are given the government, what they give them, and how they can manage it. But it's not the best, and if there's a way that it can be, I don't know, modified or improved, that would be really great. But there are private hospitals that are run by people, and that is what most people use. Considering, say, maybe childbirth, like people really usually go to private hospitals to do that, because if you go to a government hospital, you'll probably not receive as much care, or they won't treat you right or something. So, yeah.
You have a choice, though.
Yeah.
You do have a choice if you can. So would you get your master's? You guys talked about getting your master's. Would that be something you'd also try and attain here while you're here?
Master's. I'm not sure about
Not
I'm
sure
going
yet.
to get master's here.
Okay. So, and I hadn't asked, if you don't mind, how old are you? Are you the traditional student age, or
I'm 19.
you're 19?
Yeah.
So how about you, Mel?
Yeah, I beg to differ. I have no answer. No comment.
No comment.
Oh, really?
So, but what would you like to, you said maybe be a travel nurse. Would you like to go internationally, or just in this country, in other countries?
So, like, just like Nigeria, the U.S. is also very diverse, especially within their landscapes and what they offer from, because different. The system is set up like states have a lot of autonomy, and they get to select what applies to their residents. So, due to that, I can instead of traveling internationally, I can also get the opportunity I'm looking for in other states here.
Right.
So right now, I have my eyes set on Colorado, Oregon, or California. So after I graduate, I'm going to look for a job there. I'm still open to any other place. I don't mind.
Yeah.
So that is what I have for now, working in either of those places. But
Have you gotten to travel there already? Kind of like, oh, what do you like?
so no,
Colorado?
I'm going to Colorado in the summer. This summer, well, I've been to California, but I haven't been to Oregon before.
Right.
I haven't been to
What did
Oregon
you
or
like about
Washington.
California or Colorado?
I love the weather. I love the weather. I had a family there, so they're also very welcoming. And I love the activities that I got to do. I had to go to restaurants. I went to Hollywood, went to Universal Studios. I went to a lot of parks in Santa Monica. Did a lot of sightseeing. Did a lot of hiking. I also went to Orange County. Did a lot of hiking on the mountain or plains. I don't know what is best to describe it. So it was really fun, and everyone just seemed happy. But at the same time, it was kind of eye-opening, because I also went to New York, and there's a lot of homeless people there. And these people once had the great opportunities at their hand, but it didn't just work out for them, you
Right.
know? So it just like shows to how like quick life can just take a drastic turn and stuff.
Is homelessness an issue in Nigeria, since you brought it up?
I don't think, no, I don't
No?
think as much as in the United States, because people are catering to people. So like, they welcome people a lot. So it's not common to have your family member on the street when you know you have a house or shelter that you can take them in. But there's an exception to people who are mentally unstable, because there's this kind of like taboo or kind of stigma around people who are like, who need to be in rehab, or they're going through like psychological issues, like they can have like multiple personality disorders and
Sure.
disorders that make them act really crazy. So those ones, they're usually not sheltered, and they're just roaming around the streets, maybe naked and stuff. So that is the bad part about that. So the people don't want to be associated with people that act like that, because they don't want to be stigmatized by the country.
Which is an international issue in general about accepting of mental health issues. Kenny, you lived in a bigger city. So
yeah.
is that something where homelessness existed there? And tell us about, you know, in finance. Well, you said you might want to work for Leggett Platt, so you might be staying longer. But, you know, in your country, what would be some opportunities you'd be looking for?
Yeah, let me address the first issue with homelessness. Yeah, it's a bigger city because it's basically in Lagos, because Lagos is it's the commercial hub of Nigeria.
Sure.
I think the same is New York for the US. So
Okay, so comparable to New York City.
yeah, so we have many people coming from different parts of the world, sorry, different parts of Nigeria, with dreams of, you know, working hard and making a living in Lagos to, you know, take care of the family. So life happens, and
Right.
then yeah, because many of these people, you know, they left their family in other states. So life happens. Maybe the dream didn't come to reality, and then yes, they can be homeless, you know, based on that. So,
So it can be
it's-
an issue in the bigger cities.
Yes, in bigger cities. In smaller cities, I think Mel is from a place that is not as big as Lagos, so it's not really much of an issue now. But in bigger cities like Lagos, yeah, because you have people coming from, with hopes and, life happens, things don't work out fine.
So we didn't hear from you earlier. What would you want to show people in Lagos if they came to visit
Wow.
you?
Okay,
There's probably
now-
lots to see there, being a big city, because everybody wants to go to New York City.
Yeah, now,
There's Broadway
one
shows and
advice I
things.
would give,
Yes.
one advice I would give is many foreigners, when they come to Nigeria, they always like to go to Lagos. They always like to go to Lagos because Lagos is it's the commercial hub of, I think that's the same way many people come to the US and they go to New York. But the advice I would give is, yes, go to Lagos because Lagos is live, it's bubbly. If you want to see a place where everywhere is so, where everywhere is so like life is moving, everything is happening fast,
Right.
very busy.
Yeah.
I think that's what people want to see in New York too. So if you want to see that in Africa, I would just say Africa, yeah, you can go to Lagos. But in Nigeria, if you're going there to like explore, go to Lagos, spend like maybe 2 days or 1 day, but try to go to other parts of Nigeria.
So what would be some of the other parts that are nice to explore? When you say
Yes.
explore, is it because you see good environmental things? Is it
Yes.
nature? What else is there to see?
Okay, like when you go to Lagos, you're going to a place where you just see like a busy lifestyle. I mean, there are beautiful places in Lagos. There are a lot of parks, that's where concerts happen and all that. So when you go to Lagos, you're seeing that. But like I said, Nigeria is very diverse. So when you go to Lagos, the mindset you have about people in Lagos, it's very easy for many people to just mistake it and say, oh, that's how many Nigerians are. Because
And it's
Lagos is
not.
very, just like New York, Lagos is very busy. New York is also very busy. So if you're looking to go to New York and you're expecting to see the most, the kindest people in America, New York is for let me just say it's for hustlers, So you work with people maybe you're walking on the road, you're going to meet people that are very like they're on the rush.
Right.
So you don't expect to say hello, hi, meet people,
So
smile at
explore
you.
other parts of the
Yeah.
country. If
So
you want to
other
meet
parts
some of
of
the nice
country,
people.
yeah, meet some of the nice people. Like I'm happy I'm in Midwest here, So you go to other parts of Nigeria, like you can go to Ogun State is similar to Lagos. You can go to our states to like far places and explore other parts, explore the uniqueness of culture in various states. Then you can say, yes, I've been to Nigeria, I've explored Nigeria. But if you just stay in Lagos, you just explore like a part of Nigeria,
Right.
which is basically just unique to
Right.
Lagos.
And you said there's
non-Nigerians.
hundreds of culture, lots of culture. to
Yes,
see.
many culture.
Hundreds of tribes.
And in Lagos, I think those cultural way of living and stuff is kind of lost in Lagos. Because Lagos we have a nickname for it, it's no man's land.
No man's land.
Yeah, many people come from different states, stay in Lagos, so the culture is just so if you want to explore the real culture, uniqueness, and
Go
deep
beyond
culture,
Lagos.
go beyond Lagos, please.
Well, thank you.
That's it.
Thank you all for sharing all about your homeland and your experiences here in the U.S. And we wish you most success here at MSSU.
Thank you
you.
so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you
Yeah.
for having us. We enjoyed it.
Thanks. That wraps up this edition of Window on the World. Stay tuned for another edition. I'm your host, Lisa Aligas. Have a good night.